something that was very special to me, and that's the ninth step promises. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity. We will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we'll see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We'll intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled amongst us, sometimes quickly and sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them. I wanted to start off today by reading that because I'm thinking back on my own journey and my first sponsor in my OA program, a beautiful man named Richard, God rest his soul, did something very special to me. He used to read me the 9-step promises all the time. And when he read them to me back then, they made a lot of sense intellectually. I didn't truly understand them. But I know today how special they are. Because I really believe that if we truly develop this gift, and to me it's a gift, powerful gift, the gift of our recovery. And I realize something today, all of us are in process of recovering every day of our life. Recovery is what life really is all about. It's almost like we have to go through different things in life to learn from them, and then the recovering brings us to a better understanding of them. And so when I look at life, I look at the journey of life, and I can share on a personal level. I realize today that there's a war that goes on. It went on inside of me. I'm sure it goes on inside of you. It's the war between control and fear and the concept and the beautiful concept of spirit and openness. And I've learned over the years that the foundation of everything that we do in life when it comes to recovery goes back to the first 3 steps in the program. And to me, I have to share this on a personal level, because most of you who know me know my background and know that for a long period of time, I truly did not understand the word spirituality or what the word spiritual actually meant. And finally, I remember a doctor when I was in the hospital way back in 1972, when I had a nervous breakdown. I was in the hospital. The doctor said 2 things to me, which today I understand and today I'm connected to. He said, Vince, first of all, you have no idea who you are. You have no sense of yourself at all. And he said, secondly, that you're spiritually dead. See, I never understood spirituality because I really thought that it was religion. And now I understand the real definition of the word, because the word comes from Latin and Greek, and it means to come to an awakening of your personal self, spiritus actualis, the actualization of yourself. And our steps are really that. What I've learned over the years is that the gift that was given to me by this beautiful program is the gift of these 12 steps. And to me, they are the greatest spiritual program on the face of this earth. And yet the gift of them I can't take for granted. And that's why gratitude, humility, love, all those things I have to work on today. Is be able to go through the process of learning what gratitude really is and learning what recovery really is. See, I realize I'll always be in the process of recovering, at least I hope so, which means I'm always in the process of growing. I'm also in the process of learning. And the bottom line is, I don't want to ever be done. Why do you want to be done? It's more fun to go on an adventure. And so I'm learning something in the process of life. I'm learning this concept of not getting caught up in what I call the debating society. Just to be open to the journey of life and where it takes you. And it's really interesting because Monday night at my home group meeting, we're doing the big book study, and we're on Bill's story. What I love so much about Bill's story is that Bill was no different than me or you. Bill was debating, battling, struggling, trying to figure it out, trying to control, his behavior, kind of control his addiction, trying to control a lot of things. And as a result, then he wasn't getting anywhere. His friend came to visit him, Abby, and began to show him something that he had found, something very special. It's called faith and belief. He couldn't understand that because he didn't want to put a tag on anything. And so finally, they came up with what the third step teaches us, a God of our understanding, a God of faith, a God of belief. What I've learned in those first three steps is they're the hardest steps in the program, and yet they're the foundation of the program, and they're the foundation of recovery. And I want to kind of share a couple of examples with you to show you what I'm talking about. You ever been to Center City, Philadelphia, or New York, or any place, and you see them putting a new building up? They normally dig a big hole. And you'll notice that for 3 or 4 months, these little guys and ladies run around this hole. And you go by every day through the knot holes and check into it, and you wonder, what are they doing? When's this building going to go up? They've been down in that hole for a long period of time. And then one day, almost magically, the building begins to rise. And I realized something. All those months they spent in that hole, they were laying a foundation. All the months they worked down there, they were doing the most important part of the construction. They were laying the foundation. And for all of us in recovery, we have to learn something. We can never take our foundation for granted. We have to always go back to the basics, to the fundamentals, to the foundations. And to me, the first 3 steps in the program are the basis and the foundation of recovery. And that's where gratitude comes into play. One of the toughest steps to ever work in this program is the first step. But I love so much about the first step, you can't do it by yourself, because if you try to do it by yourself, you're going to get stuck in what I refer to as intellectual recovery. It's nice, it's wonderful, it means knowledge, but it's not about intellectual recovery. It's about truly going to the inside, to your heart, to your gut, to your spirit, and getting in touch with the real you, and going on a journey of being in touch with your spirit on the inside. That first step is centralized around 2 special words. The words are surrender and acceptance. But I'm no different than you. I don't just surrender. I got to fight first. I got to battle first. I got to struggle first. I got to do it my way. And as a result, then very many times I have to kind of beat myself up a little bit. And most of us are experts at that. I know. You know, we have a tendency of doing that until we actually come to that moment in our life where maybe we're hurting enough that we finally come to the moment of surrender and come to the moment of acceptance. What's so beautiful about the first step is the first word of the first step. The word is we, not I. I realize something. I said this so many times to you, I'm not walking the journey of life by myself anymore. I love walking with all of you, with all the people I've been connected to over the course of my journey in life, with all the experiences, the things we've gone through, the things we've talked about. And I realize over and over again that first step is teaching me acceptance, but acceptance does not come magically. It's almost like I got to go through this grieving process. I have to struggle and battle for things and go through that bargaining stage in the grieving process because I keep wanting to figure it out. Life is not to be figured out, it's to be lived. It took me a long time to get in touch with that myself. That's why that first step is so important, because it's the gateway to something called faith, gateway to belief, to realize the fact that there's something, somewhere, someplace guiding me, strengthening me. I don't have to do it alone. And that spirit, that energy, is something I have to be able to ask help for every day. And that's where the third step comes into play. Let go. Ask for help, ask for guidance. But go to a God of your understanding, to whatever works for you. And one thing I learned over the years is I don't want to basically be settled. I want to be in the process of recovering every day of my life. Because as I recover, I rediscover, I read new things in life. So I go back to basics constantly. And every day in the morning, I try to say a special prayer and try to renew the first, second, and third step, because they really are a gift. And I'm going to share this on a kind of a personal level. Going back to my early years in my life, it took me a long time actually until the middle 80s to begin to truly get in touch with myself as a person. I spent a lot of time, in that control fear modality. Everything about absolutes, everything about trying to figure it out, trying to analyze it, because I had no idea who I was. I had no sense of myself at all. Even when I first came into recovery back in the 70s, and I was around the AA program for a long period of time, I really wasn't in recovery. I had a lot of information. I was gathering a lot of stuff. My real journey began when I was able to finally surrender and finally get in touch with and begin to understand what Richard was trying to teach me back in the beginning. That deep down inside, there are so many miracles inside of each and every one of us. There is so much you will experience in life if you have the courage to let go. If you try to figure life out, you're never going to figure it out. Life is this wonderful adventure. We have to all go on it. I joke about this today because I've realized something really important in my life. And what the recovery has done for me is taught me to quit the debating society. Coming out of my background as a priest, people always ask me this question. They say, are you still Catholic? I say, sometimes. Sometimes I'm Jewish, sometimes I'm Muslim, sometimes I'm Buddhist. I've learned something on my journey. I can learn something from every different aspect of life. It's about a process of what works. I love the big book because there are no absolutes in the big book. Everything's about process. It's about learning. It's about discovering. It's about taking what you can use. Some things work, some things don't work. So I don't debate anymore. Whatever we find, whatever works for us, that's the important part of it. And I've learned over the years, it's not my job to tell somebody else what works for them. I can only share what works for me. And I realize today my relationship with a higher power is much more powerful than it was when I was a clergyman. My relationship with God is more personal today. My relationship with the God of my understanding is something that basically is part of me and part of my journey. And I've learned to accept that and be connected with it. And that's why every day I've got to take time for prayer, for meditation. I've got to take time to fill my soul, to begin to go back into my spirit. Because I cannot take recovery for granted, because it is a gift. And gifts have to be nurtured and taken care of and developed. And that's why take your time, relax a little bit, okay? I want to share a couple of things with you. The old timers in AA, and I got to joke about this one now because I'll be 80 on Sunday, and I always quote the old timers. And then one day somebody said to me, who are the old timers, Vince? So I told them who they were, and they said, are they still around? I said, no, they're mostly all dead. I said, they're gone. They said, oh, I guess you must be one of the old timers now. I said, oh my God, yeah. So all of a sudden now I realize something. I'm one of the old timers. I'm one of the elders. It's a privilege. It's an honor. I know that. But boy, sometimes you look back and you say, how'd I get here? And yet in reality, it's because of the ones before me that brought me to where I am today. And I'm grateful. I really am. I have so much gratitude for all the people I've met in the course of my journey. And I realized today that the old timers taught me something so beautiful, and yet it's hard. It's not easy. They said the secret to recovery is three beautiful things. Simplicity. Try to keep life simple. Try to be in the process of just learning something new every day. Be in the process of looking at things through a set of simple eyes. Try not to make things complicated. Life is complicated enough without you making it complicated. The second word they taught me was stupidity. And I really took a step back when they said that. They said, keep it simple, stupid. They used to tell me all the time. Stupidity is not necessarily a negative thing. Sometimes you just have to stop trying to figure it out and just walk it and just live it and do the best you can every day. I know if you try to figure everything out all the time, you end up having to buy a bottle of Excedrin. You get these headaches and make you half crazy and half nuts. Can you really figure life out? No. We have to come to an acceptance of whatever is. How can I grow? How can I learn from it? I can look at this disease we're experiencing and the quarantine and the stuff we're going through in life. I can either accept it, learn from it, and grow from it, Or I can be upset about it, drive myself crazy, and make myself nuts, which I did for a period of time. But now I'm realizing the fact there's something to be learned by all of this. There's something in life to be learned. We have to learn how to let go, to realize the fact that something's guiding us. And whatever works, I don't debate anymore. Because I've been around for a long time. I've heard some stories. And I could tell you story after story after story. That's what I love about hearing people's stories. And one of the guys told me this a long time ago, and I always love telling this story. A friend of mine who I've known now for 15 years, probably more than that. Anyway, he always had a lot of arguments with me because he always claimed to be a professed atheist. He said, this higher power thing, what are you talking about? So after a while, one day he came to me and he said, you know, Vince, you give me a lot of food for thought. So I made a decision. He said, I do have a higher power. He said, tell me who it is. I said, it's the basic text of NA. In the morning now, I ask for help and guidance from the basic text. And every night I say thank you to the basic text for keeping me straight and taking care of my life. That man was a man of prayer. He was praying to something that worked for him. See, I truly believe that the higher power understands us and understands where we're going from. We'll also have to kind of find what works for us and what direction works. And as a result, then we can share who we are, but be open to where other people are. And the journey can be in a lot of different directions. I've been around where people use a billy club for their higher power. They use the chair. Hey, if it gets them connected, it gets them to start believing, do it. I don't debate anymore. Because I realized over and over again that everything in life is a process. Everything kind of happens when it's supposed to happen. It's all part of the process we're involved in and we're going through. And so I try to stay away from judgments. That's what the program has taught me. It's taught me just to walk the journey every day, do what I can do. But I'm going to tell you something. Richard was right. Ever since I really got into this program, began to live it and make it part of my life, miracles have happened. Miracles just happen to stay out of the way. I never thought I would do half the things I'm doing today, half the things I've been connected to today. I never realized how much you can experience and go through in life. And I realized over and over again, I've been able to do things I never thought I could ever do before in my life. Never thought I'd be able to write the way I write today. Never thought I'd be able to do some of the things I'm doing today. Never thought I'd be able to be here with all of you and to be able to share. I'm getting in touch with my gifts. And I realized today that, yes, those promises are true. You will experience a gift of serenity, a gift of inner peace. Be able to enjoy each day. You have to set the world on fire every day? No, don't do that. Do the best you can every day. Learn something new every day. Try to keep things a little simple every day. And as a result, then, a little bit at a time, you'll discover more things about yourself as a person. And I remember Richard saying that to me too. He used to always tell me over and over again. He used to say, Vince, just learn a little bit each day. Progress. Take your time. Slower, better. And so really, when you look at those first three steps, they're nurturing steps. They take time to build. Surrender and acceptance doesn't come overnight, and it's something I've got to go back to every day. I have to work on every day. I've got to stay connected to every day. Faith is something I have to renew and develop in my life every day and be open to new things and new directions, because I realize whatever is today may change tomorrow. I don't know. I got to work on it for today. I got to learn to live life one day at a time, to live in the present, to live in the moment, to celebrate the moments that we have, and try not to look into what will be. Only God knows what will be. And we keep it simple. But learn to let go and realize the fact you're not in charge. One of my favorite plaques I have on my wall at Starting Point, and I love it. It says, try to remember who's driving the car. Stop being a backseat driver. God knows where he's going. Leave him to hell alone. I love that. And it's the truth. So many times in my life, I go back to trying to control. Every time I try to control, I end up with fear. And fear just tears you down, tears you apart. And I realize over and over again, I keep going back to that because my mind gets in the way. I want to try to figure out. I want to answer the question why when there is no answer. But I'm learning more and more, a little bit at a time, to go back to surrender to the reality of what is. And I said this to you so many times, what's supposed to be will be. And wherever's going on in our life today is what's important to experience. And there's good things to learn from everything in life, even from the tragedies, the hurts, the pains, the things that we go through. There's all of our experiences. We talked about this earlier. All of our experiences will become strength if we have the courage to surrender to them, accept them, be open to them, and realize the fact that gratitude is such a powerful gift. Be grateful for who you are. Celebrate who you are every day. Celebrate the gift of life. Celebrate the things you're experiencing in life. Celebrate the learning lessons that are going through in life. But that serenity and that peace will come to you. The promises will come, but they will come in God's time, not in our time. See, I really go back to those basics again. Recovery to me is the greatest gift God has given me. Recovery to me is the gift of life. And everybody's recovery is different. Each one of us is different. But if we have the courage to share with one another, connect with one another, and be part of one another, we can learn from each other. We're not cookie cutter people, okay? I don't want things just being in one little cookie cutter way. I want to be able to experience from other people's experiences, other people's hopes, other people's strengths. Each one of us is the most important person on the face of this earth, and each one of us is equal. I remember the old timers saying this too, which makes a lot of sense to me. They used to say, everybody only has one day, and that is today. Yesterday's over, tomorrow hasn't come. Each of us has but one day. We have today. Make the best you can of this one day. Celebrate the little moments. Celebrate the people around you. Celebrate the people you meet every day. Celebrate even the hurts and pains we have to go through. You know, in the first step also, they talk about powerlessness. They talk about struggle. They talk about pain. They talk about earning. That's why that first step is so important, because in conjunction with others, through the examples of others, I can learn and I can grow. I also realize today that I got to ask for help every day, not just from my higher power, but help from other people I am connected to. And I realize today that this is a we program, not an I program. We all need each other. We're all connected to each other. We're all part of each other. We're all family. You know, I used to laugh at Richard way back in the beginning because he used to always say that. He used to say, "Good morning, family. Good morning, family." And today, my recovery family is a great gift. You know, all my families I belong to are great gifts. I am learning, and maybe because I'm getting older, I don't know. I'm beginning to mellow a little bit and look at life. I'm learning to get the hell out of my head. Just stop trying to analyze it and figure it out all the time. God, that's tiresome. I'm realizing today, grateful, gratitude. Gratitude for the gift of life, for the gift of recovery, for the gift of growth, for the gift of willingness. So many gifts in life that are so powerful, and yet we can't take them for granted. We have to renew them constantly, go back over them constantly. We all have a life. We all have a story. Remember I told you this, your story is the greatest story on the face of this earth, because your story is about you. Sometimes we have a tendency to put people up on pedestals and we try to be like them. Don't be like them, okay? Because they are who they are. You be who you are. Because each one of you is one of God's miracles. Each one of you has gifts and talents and things inside of you. Don't sell yourself short. Embrace who you are. Embrace your spirit. Embrace your personhood. Embrace every part of yourself as a person. And just realize a little bit at a time, you're going to go through different experiences in life. You're going to experience them more and more. I look back on my own journey, and I've been on tons of experiences in my life. And I'm grateful for all of them. I look back on some of them I don't think I could do today, and that's okay. But I realized that when I went through them, it was part of the journey. I know that prayer, meditation, faith, growth, all these things are part of it. And God keeps sending teachers into our life. I have to try to be open to them and do the best I can and try to learn from them. And that's why I've said over and over again, this beautiful spiritual program, and I love it so much. You know why I love it so much? Think about it just for a minute. The principles, the concepts of our recovery program were put together by some very confusing, some people that were struggling. I always say by a bunch of recovering drunks. It's fantastic. They definitely were inspired by a higher power, inspired by the Spirit, inspired by the people around them. When I look at Bill's story, I look at Dr. Bob's story, the founders, I realize Bill went through so many struggles in life, so many battles, so many things in life, just to be able to find things that worked. We're like him. We're no different. He's a good example for us. He had his idiosyncrasies. He has little strange behaviors. He had the ups and he had his downs. But guess what? So do we. Congratulations. Isn't it wonderful that we have defects of character? Isn't it wonderful that we make mistakes? Isn't it wonderful that we're human? Isn't it wonderful that we go through aches and pains in our body a lot? Isn't it wonderful that we can go through all these things in life? Because every one of them can become a teachable moment. Even going through loss. We're going to experience loss in our life. You know, I think back in my life, and I'm at an age now where I'm seeing a lot of people I've been connected over the years have passed on. But they really haven't passed on. They're part of my journey and part of my experiences. I'll be part of yours and we'll all be part of one another's. And that's why it's so important to acknowledge each other, to celebrate each other, to be open to each other, and to realize the gift of life. You know, so we have to suffer through losses a lot of times. Sometimes we can even explain some of them. You know, I've seen so many young people die of drug overdoses and people die in different types of things. I don't know why this happens, but it does. Maybe it was their journey, but I know now they're part of us, they're connected to us, and they're part of our journey. So each and every one of us is a very special gift. And so what I want to do today, I want to share with you a prayer that I believe very deeply in. Because I think back on all the things I've gone through in life. I think back to all the things people have experienced in life, and even to those that have gone before us, and realize that all of us are family. We're all connected to each other, no matter what it is. And so as we celebrate the gift of recovery today, take time to look at your own self. Take time to say thank you. Take time to say thank you for the gift of life. Take time to say thank you that we have the power to surrender, the power to grow. Take time to look within your heart, your spirit, and your mind, and realize that those 9-step promises, they're real, man. They're real. Through faith, anything is possible. I think sometimes we get tired, we get worried. Come on, I'm Italian. You guys know that, don't you? And guess what? When I was born, the minute of my birth, my parents gave me 3 gifts: fear, guilt, and worry. They came along with the package. I have to fight them throughout my whole entire life? Yes. But you know what helped me fight them and deal with them? The gift of recovery, the gift of life. So for today, I'm grateful for everything in my life. I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my wife, my grandkids, my daughters. I'm grateful for all the things that were part of my journey in life. I'm grateful for my neighbors, for the people around me. I'm even grateful today for those people that have hurt me. Even though I don't like them a lot of times, I don't like what happened, but that's okay. You have to like it. But I can also pray for them and love them too. You know, I've seen a lot in my life, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for the gift of being able to be on this earth as long as I've been. And I'm grateful for life in general. So I want to share this prayer with you in closing today that we kind of carry in our hearts and our minds. and realize is a gift. As we say this prayer, also remember all those who have gone before us, those who have left this earth but are now connected to us on the other side. They're our family. We are connected to them also. Let us pray. God, we come before you today as family. Come together today in the gift of life, the gift of recovery. Thank you, God, for all the gifts you have given us. Thank you for the gift of our families, for the gift of our teachers, for the gift of all those people who have touched our lives in one way or another. Even thank you, God, for those who maybe have hurt us. Maybe we can learn and grow from them through forgiveness and through healing. Thank you, God, for all the things we experience in the course of this journey. But above all, God, thank you for being part of our journey. Thank you for those who have gone before us. Thank you for the gift of life, for the gift of recovery, for the gift of those beautiful steps, for the gift of being able to teach us every day to go back to the basics, go back to the foundations, never take anything for granted. And know that if we ask for your help, we ask for your guidance, we ask for your direction, you will always be there to guide us and be part of us. For you are our family. You are our teacher. Each and every one of us, let us be teachers and pupils to one another. Let us learn from each other and grow from each other. God, help every one of us, those that are with us today and those who can't be with us for any reason. God, please help every one of us to realize the beautiful gifts you have given to us inside of ourselves and teach us to learn from them, to accept them, and to share them. Teach us the gift of service to one another, to share with each other and be part of one another. So with gratitude, with a lot of love, we come before you today to say thank you, to ask God's blessing on all that we do, and know that the God of our understanding is the God that guides us each and every day of our life. Please, God, help us to be open to the journey, but teach us never to walk it alone. We ask this blessing and we ask it in your name. Amen. I'd ask all of you now just to join me in saying the Serenity Prayer.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. God's will, not mine, be done.